I called for I called some leaders, who are meant to be youth leaders in the state, and there's a particular person, one of the youth leaders, who was actually about 60 years of age, and this is a youth leader. I mean, I was dumbfounded because my dad is actually, in that region of 60. He was in his early 60s, then, and I'm like, okay, 60 years old, youth leader. I challenged, the man. I said, sir, I mean, with all due respect, I heard that, you're actually 60, years old. And the man laughed. I said, why? How come you are the youth leader? I said, commissioner it's not about the age, that is a youth at heart. I'm like, okay, I see. I see. At some point, I mean, I've had different even political bigwigs, who would come to me and say, Seun, I have 2 daughters, I mean, and they will be coming home, for, if you don't mind, I can actually, invite you over for dinner, and you meet them.
Fako. You know what? I've decided that I like you and that we're going to be friends, so it's going to be Fako from now.
I mean, I made so much money. I spent, everything. I went broke. A lot of people actually went against him. A lot of leaders, the principalities of Oyo State politics actually went against him. Most of them don't have the balls to actually execute, such action. And irrespective of how old, you are, I'll say, hello, sir. I mean, I expect that report by 4 p.m. When it's 4 p.m., I don't get, hello, sir. I mean, this is 4 p.m. Sir, you have not brought in this, report, and all of them, they know the consequences, of that. I am not the young commissioner. I am the commissioner.
In 2019, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State inaugurated or appointed my guest today as the Commissioner for Youth and Sports in Oyo State. Now, as impressive as that is a fairly typical result. It's in the sense that there are at least 30 other commissioners for youth and sports across Nigeria. What made this one atypical and extraordinary was the age of the commissioner. On that day, he was just 27 years old. How? I mean, how does one become commissioner at 27 in Nigeria? That is exactly what I asked my guest today. On this one, I speak to the youngest commissioner in the history of Nigeria, the former commissioner for youth and sports in Oyo State, Honorable Seun Fakorede. This is the deep dive. Honorable Commissioner, you are very welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's so good to be here. So good to see you.
So, look, a little bird told me, very little bird, that your closest friends, those who are closest to you, call you Fako. Well, well, I will not be calling you that. I am going to work on the distance of my relationship with you so that I get the privilege of calling you Fako very soon. But today I'm going to stick to Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone is actually fine by me, actually.
Okay, awesome. So I should let you know, I crave your indulgence right now. In the beginning, it's going to seem as if I am spending an inordinate amount of time on your age. This is not to take anything away from your achievements. It's just that fascinates me. What you've been able to achieve fascinates me a lot. So I just crave your indulgence right now.
No problem at all.
All right, great. So the obvious question you must have been asked 1,000 times. Please, commissioner at 27. Please, who is your medicine man? Which juju man did it for you? How?
Oh well, I mean it's actually quite amazing, and for me, I actually count it a privilege. I mean, just like yesterday, 2019, August, that was when I was appointed as honorable commissioner for youth and sports in Oyo State, and at the age of 27, and that made me the youngest in the history of Nigeria's democratic rule, to be commissioner at the age of 27. And I'm happy, because thank God for policy changes. Thank God for constitutional amendments, that could actually make somebody like me, come into office at that, young age. Before, it would have been very, very impossible. But because of the not too young to run bill that was actually enacted, that gave me the opportunity to, be commissioner at 27. So I count it, privilege, to have been appointed, commissioner at that, young, age.
Okay, but look, how did you do this thing? You must tell me how. See, you could please, can you just give me the story? So you graduated from the university, the Obafemi Awolowo University, right?
Yes.
Okay, how old were you upon graduation?
Okay, so I mean, the story is actually quite interesting. So I finished from Obafemi Awolowo University, and immediately after school, I started doing a lot of things, around youth empowerment, youth development, with my not-for-profit, Home Advantage Africa, and there were a number of things. Okay, while I was in school too, I was very active with student unionism, and that's perhaps form like a bedrock for the things that I was doing after school. So fast forward to 2019, I got to reached out to that. For me, nobody actually even told me that I was going to be coming in to be commissioner in Oyo State. I felt like, okay, maybe because of what I was doing, the state wanted me to come and consult, for her on youth development and youth empowerment. So I was willing to do that. Of course, I knew quite all right that the state was definitely going to pay me for my service. I was not going to do it for free. But upon meeting His Excellency, the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde, it was just myself and himself inside the office. The conversation was perhaps maybe less than some 10 or 12 minutes. And during the conversation, he just mentioned that, oh, so sure, are you willing to leave Lagos, to come to Ibadan to pick up a job as commissioner? And for me, it was the first time I was, hearing that, from the horse's mouth. And I'm like, commissioner, is it that easy, to just, come from nowhere, to become, commissioner? I was, a little bit shocked, but I had to compose myself in front of the governor so that it doesn't look like as if so, and the next thing I told the governor that I would actually consider it a privilege, to serve my community, my locality. The Home Advantage Africa, the organization that I run, our motto is conquer your locality, conquer the world, because we believe that when you conquer your locality, you become an exportable material. So I just felt like, this message is being directed back to me that, okay, I'm trying to empower the youth to do stuff, to conquer their locality. So it is also in an ample opportunity for me to do something for my local community, to conquer my local community. And I told His Excellency that I would consider it a privilege to take up, the assignment. And the next thing is he stood up, stretched his hands, towards me and said, congratulations, Seun, you have the job. For me, because, we all know Nigerian politics, and, it was quite strange, for me that, is it this easy? Especially coming from a background of, having a father who, is a politician, and I know what it means, to be a commissioner. It's one of those big, and principal roles in the executive cabinet. So, I mean, it was somewhat, like a shock, but I mean, that was the reality, because I know the governor was not, trying to mess around or joke, with me. It was them, serious, about it. So, and the rest, is history today. I mean, doing that, comfortably for 4 years, before I successfully, completed my tenure, last year, May, is, amazing. And the records, the goodwill, everything is still there to speak, for me.
Oh, great. I mean, so what are you up to now?
So right now, I mean, I'm running my not-for-profit, and then I'm also currently engaging with a number of global assignments. So I'm also part of the Club de Madrid. Club de Madrid is actually an international platform for global leaders. I mean, these are people who are past, head of states, past, presidents, past head of prime ministers of different states. So we have these, global assignments that we go on at different, points during the year.
Oh, that's awesome. So your father was a politician. Are you saying that had nothing to do with the governor tapping you for this position? Well, this was all on your own.
I mean, so contrary to what a lot of people have been taught, a lot of people felt like you can't get that kind of position or that kind of role if you don't have a godfather, or if your dad is not some heavyweight or big weight in the field. But I mean, it wasn't like that. My dad knew nothing about me becoming commissioner. My mom knew nothing about. In fact, when I met with the governor, I didn't break the news to them, because it was almost too good to be true, because I was just doing my thing in Lagos, and then I was being called upon. So I kept it to myself that, look, I don't want to share this news with my loved ones yet, and then tomorrow it happens that maybe I couldn't get this position. So I kept it to myself. I think I met the governor on a Wednesday. Yes, it was on a Wednesday, and the news didn't get out until Friday. In fact, it was the Speaker of the House of Assembly that actually broke, the news and told the world that, he tweeted that he just received the nomination of, a certain Seun Fakorede, who is 27 years old, who would, in turn be the youngest commissioner designate, in Oyo State and, Nigeria at large. So it was at that time that I got wind that the speaker was going to break, the news online, that I called my parents and said, oh, very soon you might start, getting calls and, different messages, reading stuff online. This is the situation of things. I deliberately kept it to myself so that I just wanted to be sure that I was going, in for this, and I was going to get it before I break the news, to you. So that was when they got to know, about the whole process. So they didn't have any hand, in it.
Okay. Look, I'm still struggling to find the link between you and Oyo State here. So you leave the university, you go to Lagos, you start a company that is youth focused. The focus of your company was on the youth, right?
On the youth.
Okay, so that is Lagos. There are 100 companies in Lagos that are doing all sorts of things, maybe thousands of companies that have something to do with the youth. How do you come to the attention of the governor of Oyo State to the degree that you not only start working for them, he calls you and talks to you and appoints you commissioner?
All right, so this is the background of the story. The governor, when he was campaigning for the 2019 general elections, for governor, sometimes in 2018, when he had, some organized town hall meeting with the youth, he promised the young people of Oyo State that when he becomes governor, he was going to appoint, someone who is a youth indeed. And he promised them and committed himself that when he becomes governor, he's going to appoint somebody who is less than 30 years of age. So, and I mean, becoming governor, unlike a lot of people who would perhaps not respect or hold on to their promises before office, he stood by those promises. And I mean, he was going to appoint somebody who was less than 30. Apparently all the people, all the names that were suggested to the governor, I mean, a number of them who are actually quite qualified were over 30 years of age. But he wanted to make sure that whoever according to his promise, was going to be less than 30. And that was why, I mean, they had to extend, their tentacles. And that was how I was called upon. I mean, I'm from Oyo State, a bona fide, citizen of, Oyo State, who is actually working in that youth development and empowerment, space. So it was quite, and my works were there at 27. I mean, looking back, sometimes when I look back and sit back and I tell myself, I even give myself a pat on the back that, I mean, for me to have actually done all those things at 27, it's quite rare. It's not common, to see a young man who has actually defied all odds, who has actually broken a number of boundaries and limits, to actually get to where I was then. So it was quite easy for the governor and a number of other principal officers of the cabinet in Oyo State to be convinced that this guy, can actually, do it. He came with his own challenges, because a number of people, were like, oh, who is this guy? Where did you just bring him? He just surfaced, from out of nowhere, to become commissioner designate. Oh, we are not going to allow him. We are not going to accept, this nomination. No, the governor, cannot. I mean, yeah, he's not a politician. He is not, part of us, in quotes. But I mean, the governor was resolute. He knew what he wanted to do for the state. He knew that, politicking and electioneering has gone. It's time for governance, and governance is real business. And, it's not just, for politicians. It's also, for technocrats, who will be able to drive, things forward and better. And that was how I became part of, his team.
So, you weren't in politics. This is strange to me to hear, or strange for me to hear, because every time I have hinted about going into politics or being appointed into office, every time I have heard about it, the normal thing seems to be that somebody has to be in politics. You have to have joined them. You have to be a card. In fact, the way they say it is that you have to be a card carrying member of the party. You just can't be anybody from outside. You have to have paid your dues. You needed to have been inside, and so on and so forth. Are you saying that you were a complete outsider? You weren't even a card carrying party member?
No, I wasn't a card carrying member of the governor's political party. As a matter of fact, I wasn't a card carrying member of any political party, as at the time I was appointed as commissioner. So, and that's should I say, one of the advantages of having new breeds in the system. The governor too, was a new breed, if I'm going to use that word. And that was why a number of things, were quite different. The governor came in, he shattered a number of, conventional idiosyncrasies, ideology, to become, who he is. So he didn't do things as a conventional politician. If the governor was a traditional politician and, conventional politician, there are a number of actions that he took that he wouldn't have taken. So that's why I tell people that Governor Seun Makinde is actually one of a kind. His ways are a lot different from, the casual and, traditional, politician. And that was why, he didn't necessarily know me from Adams, and of course, what he met with was my works and my antecedents. And it felt like, if this guy is, from Oyo State and he has been able to do this, do that, and do a number of things for youth development and empowerment, why not? Let's bring him on board. let him come and, join the team with us to make Oyo State a better place, to be, especially for the young, population. And that was how, he called me into the system. So I was not, like maybe the way we understand it today, that, oh, you have to be, boy to somebody, you have to be, you have to have some godfather, you have to have, no, I mean, it was out of the normal convention. And I mean, that's why, I'm still here today.
Aha. You know what occurs to me as you see all of this, as you were saying all of this, what occurs to me was that if Governor Seun Makinde had been governor when I was 25 or 26 or 27 or younger, I might have been commissioner, because I am from Oyo State, I'm from Ajawa, and I've been Teju baby face since I was 19. Really? I mean, yes, wow. I'm from Ajawa, Golua local government, and I have been me since I was 19. So it's just, I mean, what do we go? This timing was not. I mean, that might have been me.
I can imagine. And the thing is, it's just quite funny. The kind of system and leaders that we have, today. Because, I mean, before now, how would you have a ministry of youth and sport? And the person, leading the affairs of the Ministry of Youth and Sport is actually, some 50-year-old, 55-year-old, man. I mean, I just personally think that, it's wrong. Because if we're talking about the young people, we should put them there. We know, you can't tell, somebody who is as old as my father, to want to implement policies that would be tailored to the way I want it to be. So, and that's why, I'm happy that Governor Seun Makinde came in and he changed the order. It was after Governor, I mean, a number of people would have even felt that, okay, this is the right thing to do, but most of them don't have the balls to actually execute, such action. But, Governor Seun Makinde actually dared the consequences, and he said, look, if it is about the youth, then put the youths in office, put them there, let them sit on the table to talk about the matters that pertains, to them. And that was the decision. A lot of people actually went against him. A lot of leaders, the principalities of Oyo State politics actually went against him. But he said, no, whatever it takes, he's going to, stand his ground. That let the youths, let them have it. I mean, I came to office for you to know that there are a number of strange things. I called for some leaders, who are meant to be youth leaders in the state, and there's a particular person, one of the youth leaders, who was actually about 60 years of age, and this is a youth leader. I mean, I was dumbfounded, because my dad is actually, in that region of 60. He was in his early 60s, then, and I'm like, okay, 60 years old, youth leader. I mean, that's just to show you. And I mean, I challenged, the man. I said, sir, I mean, with all due respect, I heard that, you're actually 60, years old. And the man laughed. I said, why? How come you are the youth leader? I said, commissioner is not about the age, that is a youth at heart. I'm like, okay, I see. I see. But, and it is just to show you that there is actually this high level of deficit and, dysfunction in the system. Because I feel that if this man, have been able to do what he ought to do when he was a youth, he shouldn't be trying or striving to become a youth leader at 60. So, and it's upon us to actually change that order. And that is why you see a number of, there are a lot of misplaced, priorities. There are a lot of, misplaced, organizations in the system. And that's why you have somebody who is 60 trying to, fight with the people that are age mates, of his children, for for positions, for, spaces and roles in the government. It's not right. And I'm happy, because look at, after the action Governor Seun Makinde took, then, it was closely followed by the governor of Kwara, then that appointed, a young lady too was, about 26, years old or so. But I mean, I think she only served for like about 1 year. And a number of other governors and other leaders are beginning to appoint young, people into the system. And that's just because of the fact that somebody was able to lead that vanguard to say that, okay, you know what, this is a position for the youth. Give them, let them do it. And, I'm happy that what we have today is actually, a good story. I'm happy that, I served there actively for 4 years, and there was not, any single, case of, misconduct or any, reason why, I would have let the general population of the young people, the young constituency I served, disappointed.
Thank you. So from your question is a very great segue to my next question. See, we come from a climb and a culture that are age and respect obsessed. Older people expect younger people to bow down and respect them and genuflect to them, even and if when they've done nothing to deserve that respect. Okay, which is strange because that's not actually the African way. The Africans hold, at least the Yoruba people hold, that as important as age is, achievements are also as equally important. It was Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey who said, Bo ṣọmọdé lolúwa gbọ́lá fún, ẹ jẹ́ ká pọ́nlé, ìdí ìyẹn lẹ́ṣin wa, ojú wa náà ṣe bí, àwa la wò ẹ́ dàgbà, ìtàn nìyẹn. Translation being that, look, if there's an achiever, if there be one, let us celebrate them regardless of how old or how young they are. Forget all this stuff about I knew when he was born, I knew when she was born, I was the one who raised them, I wiped the snot from their nose and so on. I say all of this to ask you that as a 27-year-old man, leading and heading an entire ministry of people, some of whom are decades older than you are, how did you avoid they are calling you small boy? With all due respect, this is Nigeria. They will say that small boy. How did you deal with that challenge?
So I think for it's the same for every young people out there. What I faced, what I had to go through is the same every young achiever out there is going through. And the way I was able to maneuver those things, I tell a number of people that I have the opportunity to engage that everything is just, it's a function of wisdom. I tell people that wisdom is the understanding of difference and the ability to anticipate consequences. And, for me, it was, I knew what I was coming in to do. And I know that, yes, I might be 27, but as a leader, I am not, expected to act my age, but to act the responsibility. And the responsibility I had at that time was that of a commissioner. A number of events that I go to, when they want to introduce me, they'll say, ladies and gentlemen, please, let's welcome the young commissioner. So the first event, it didn't go well with me that, why young commissioner? The second event, let's welcome the young commissioner. The third event, I had to speak up. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, I am not the young commissioner. I am the commissioner. Because, sometimes over the years, I've seen how, the older generation has tried to water down the potency of the younger folks. You see professors, the older generations, maybe by the time they were able to bag their professorship, they were perhaps 55, sometimes, some of them are close to 60. And one of the hallmark of, seeing an individual who is a professor is maybe some gray hairs. Even by their look, you can tell that, this man is a prof. So because they've actually read their life, through to get, to that position. But today we have professors in their 30s. We have professors in their, early 40s. In fact, professors in their late 20s. So now the older generation is not so comfortable because it looks like, do you know what it took me to become a professor? And then you now get that at 31. No. So they now classify them as these ones are young professors. And I tell people that when you say young professors, except there's an examination that is called Young Examination for Professors, or there's a thesis that you wrote that it is young thesis, or some publication that it is young publication. And that is when you have the right to say somebody is a young, professor. And I tell them, I go about to speak, I said, look, let nobody take advantage of your youth. If you are a photographer is a photographer. There's nothing like a young photographer. There's no young Canon camera or young, Sony camera. If you are holding a camera, you are a cameraman. You are a photographer. If you are a leader is a leader. A pastor is a pastor. There's nothing like young anointing. Oh, so, God called you and then he bestowed upon you young anointing because you are young. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like a young imam. If you have the anointing, if you have the grace, you have it, then you should carry it. This is my own personal opinion. There's nothing even like, a young man. A man is a man. If you're not a man, you're a boy. Because manhood is absolute. It's not relative. So there are certain conditions that they would have, looked at to say that, okay, now you have entered into manhood. And if you have entered into manhood, you are a man. So let's, live with, and I told them, I said, I am not the young commissioner. I am the commissioner. Because whatever, a 60-year-old will do as a commissioner, whatever a 40-year-old or a 65 or 50-year-old will do as a commissioner is what I would do. So in this office, I'm not acting a 27-year-old. I am acting the commissioner that has the sign and the authority. So whatever I need to do, I don't shy away from it. So, and if there's anybody who is as old as my dad or as old as my mom, and they are not doing whatever they need to do, I know how to speak, to them. And the truth is, I've never, and I stand, to be correct, I've never had any situation where I was, rude to any staff or to any of, my workers at work. Because it's just, these people understand the protocol. And sometimes, look, a lot of people, when abuse thrive, in places, it's just because of the fact that the principal person in question maybe don't even know where they stand. And that's why it's easy for them to be abused. These people, they understand the rules. They understand the protocol. And as a leader, it is your responsibility, to make sure that you maintain the standard. And standards are like gravity. If you don't hold it up there, it falls. So, right from a very young age, I've, lived to understand that, look, I have to be able to, if I want to be respected, then I have to be able to make sure that I hold that standard so high. Because if I don't hold it high, if I treat it with levity, it will fall. And, I can even have some staff that will come and be using their hands, to, peck, my nose. So I knew what I was doing. I knew that, look, respect is reciprocal. I was the, commissioner, and irrespective of how old, you are, I'll say, hello, sir. I expect that report by 4 p.m. When it's 4 p.m., I don't get, hello, sir. This is 4 p.m. Sir, you have not, brought in this, report, and all of them, they know the consequences, of that. So, and, they will adjust themselves to make sure that they meet the deadline. And throughout the 4 years, we had, a cordial. There was never a time that I went to the governor or I went to my superior officers to go and report any staff, maybe a director or PS, that, this person is flaunting, my order or my instructions or directive. There was never a time, that happened. And it's just because of the fact that, and it's made me draw that conclusion that, you see, this life, look, even if you are 60-year-old, if you don't understand, the protocol, if you don't understand the power that you have, you are still liable to abuse. So, it's, for me, it is just the understanding of that power that I have, the understanding of that seat, what comes with the seats that actually, made me thrive excellently.
Fako. You know what? I've decided that I like you and that we're going to be friends. So it's going to be Fako from now.
That's okay.
So, did I hear you say that? Because I wasn't sure I heard right. Did I hear you say that while you were commissioner, you never had a situation or an episode where you had to report to your superiors about insubordination? Was that what you said?
No. I never had any.
Okay, so I asked that because who is the superior to a commissioner? I mean, wouldn't that be just the governor or maybe the deputy governor? I mean, those are your.
Okay, so
who are the
we still
superiors?
have in the hierarchy above the commissioner, we still have the chief of staff, the SSG, the deputy governor, and the governor. But because of the sensitivity of that position, a number of times a commissioner reports to the governor directly. Because you are the governor's extension. In that the governor cannot be everywhere. So that's why he has disciples who would actually man different ministries on his behalf. So a commissioner is an extension of the governor in the ministry or the MDAs that we have. So that's how it works. So by default, you are reporting to the governor directly, but for official reasons and protocol, the secretary to the state government, the SSG is the personnel that is involved with, is the custodian of the secretariat, as it were. So anything official should, under normal circumstances, go through the SSG. So that's the protocol.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification, because my knowledge and understanding of it is the practical one that you just explained, because I see commissioners report directly to the governor almost all the time. So without my understanding the official protocol, I was like, it's commissioner to governor now. So thank you for clarifying that. Now, I'm curious about this. Surely you must have noticed the unintended and unconscious consequence that your achievements at such a relatively young age had on people, especially older people. I suspect that when you met people who were older than you and they realized who you were, they unconsciously will start to question their lives and what they had achieved with their lives thus far. That at 27, did you find that you had that unintended consequence on people?
So it happens a lot, because like I said, my dad is a politician. I don't want to say was, because once a politician, always a politician. So my dad was born 1958. He became the vice chairman of our local government in 1999, I believe. And look at, if you do the maths, 1958, then 1999, and to become vice chairman, that's a lot of years. So that was where my daddy started his political career. Then he has a son who, in 2019, at the age of 27, became commissioner. So where is like my own starting point. It's in fact my father's is crescendo when it comes to politics. Of course, I've superseded, that, already. My dad never became a commissioner. He never became anything in government that is even, close to a commissioner. So for me, it's a big one. It's a big one. And I see a number of people that meet me and then they say, oh, are you serious? How old do you call yourself again? 27? And you are, and we have been in politics for 20, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, we have not even, dreamt of coming close. And it's not because, maybe they don't have, it's not a function of maybe academic qualification, and all these, things that time and chance, happen, to them and, to situations generally. So, and that's why I tell people that, look, yes, irrespective of the fact that I would tell people that, and I don't mind what, I'm unapologetic about it. I tell people that I was ready, for this. And that was why, when the appointment, came about, it was a case of, a round peg in a round hole. And for me, I tell people that, look, there's nothing. Sometimes a number of people, when they hear you speak, they think it is out of, it is pride, but it is not. When you are confident, sometimes, if you are not sure, of the kind of confidence somebody carries, you can perceive it as, pride. But I tell people that I was ready, Because the success people see today wasn't a function of overnight. It was a function of overtime. So when people were not watching, I was busy, equipping myself. I was busy giving myself out to, I've done a number of projects. If I've not used the co-hotel for seminars, conferences at all, I've used the co-hotel, for like 2 or 3 times. And these are events that are totally free. So, I make money, my first set of millions in my life. I said, I want to, plan, a conference. I want to host people. I want to invite, speakers, let them come and, pour themselves out, to this younger, generation. And it is going to be totally free. I made so much money. I spent, everything. I went broke, I'm using my money for human capital development, but I do not regret it. Because at that age, I had a number of friends who were busy, going to Dubai, going to, Turkey, going to, Dublin, going to different, places to have some, cool holiday, summer and stuff. But I said I would use my money. I have friends that were using their money to buy Benz, making, money, decent money, using to buy. But I said, look, I would rather take that Uber and then I use this money to invest, in people than to use it to buy Benz or go on, lavish, vacations. And today, I do not regret it. It's interesting that I see some of my friends and, somebody just, he looked at me, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he was like, Seun, when you were doing those things, we thought you were stupid or you don't know what you were doing. That how will you just be, is that how much you like Nigeria? You make money and then you just want to spend everything for free. You're not even expecting anything in return. And, he said, I wish that, I also joined you, to start when, you started. I said, I'm also doing something now, but I wish that I actually started as early as, you started. And I said, guy, guess what? It's never too late. It's better late than never. You are right on, the perfect, path. So just keep doing what, you know how to do best. And, before you know it, you would definitely be proud that, you gave yourself out, to humanity. So I think that's my story.
Okay. Now, so you're out of the government now. I don't know if anybody really ever leaves the government, but you're no longer commissioner in the moment.
Yes.
So how does one go
I'm
back
not
to...
in active government at the moment. Not holding any, role at the moment as we speak.
Oh, great. Okay. Exactly what I was thinking. So how does one go back to civilian life? Let's put it that way. How does one go back to civilian life after this? We know the appurtenances that come with holding a plumb government position in our country. You would have the entourage, the requisite entourage, and all of that. How do you step off that high after 4 years to go back into being just any other citizen?
Wow. So I think I would say that right from day one, I think I'm somebody who actually took the admonition of a number of elder statesmen and a number of people that I actually consider as mentors and as role models. And if there's anything I determined to do right from day one, is that I'm going to live my time in this office as though it's going to end today. So that, it's easy, for me to actually still be closely knitted with, my people and with everybody that has known me, before I became, commissioner and, I became popular and, my news and my profile went viral. I told myself from day one, I said, look, Seun, this power, this position doesn't last, forever. Because if it lasts forever, it means my predecessor wouldn't have left. He would have still been in office. So I knew right from day one that it was definitely going to come to an end someday, one way or the other. So it was easy for me to still, anybody that knows me would not say that, when Seun was in office, it was I there, it was unreachable, it was this. And that was not my case. I mean, I still made sure that I managed to engage the relationships I have, in my life. So, and it was easy. A number of times, even when I was commissioner, the number of times that I would tell my aides, my, oddly, my driver to say, oh, guys, don't worry, stand back. I'm going to, be fine all alone. Because sometimes I just want to be on my own. I just want to drive my car, myself. It's not every time that I enjoy just sitting at the owner's corner. Owner's corner, as far as I'm concerned, it's very boring, especially when you are driving or riding a very good car. I mean, why would you ride a good car and then you're just, sitting? I feel that, the driver is the one enjoying all the experiences that there is, to a good fast car. So, I mean, sometimes I tell them that, you know what, let me just go. So when I drive out and I'm being stopped by police, officers, or, any enforcement, agency, and they ask me that, oh, who are you? And I tell them that this is who I am. And I say, Commissioner, why are you driving yourself? Where's your driver? Where is your policeman? And I'm like, oh, I just want to enjoy that. I want to see life the way, everybody else, sees life. So it is not strange, for me or to me, that life. A number of times, even now, I still tell, my guys, my hates that, okay, you know what, guys, I just want to drive myself. I just want to have my own time, alone. Let's, just, do that. And for me, that's been my life. If I'm in Lagos, a number of times I drive myself that my driver is even going to be at home. If I'm in Ibadan, same thing. The only thing is I don't like driving long distance. So a number of times when I have to travel, maybe interstate, and I have to go by road, I'm always, with my driver and, one or two of my, aides, to accompany me. So, but I still live that life. So for me, that life is like nothing changed, because it wasn't like maybe I was, up there and then I'm now, with my people and I can't find anybody. My people are still with me. So I still enjoy that, grace and that, dividend of maintaining good and quality relationship.
All right. Now you're out of government. Usually at this point, you've tasted the sweet nectar of power. Shouldn't you be plotting how to get to be governor or minister and thereafter president or something? I mean, you have all these oodles and heaps of time on your side rather. Is this the end of it? Are we going to see you running for governorship or something very soon?
So, I mean, clearly, let me start from that, sweetness that you said about power. And, I mean, this is just, stating the obvious and the truth about government. Government is very sweet. I mean, and it's very sweet in the sense that it's not, about, and for me, I like to say that this is my own personal view and opinion, that you don't necessarily have to, the sweetness in government is not a function of, embezzling, money or misappropriating or misapplying or misapplication of funds. A lot of things are actually there for you to enjoy. And, so for me, I like to say that, for good 4 years being in the office, there was no single case of, misappropriation, embezzlement, or misconduct. But I would say that I enjoyed the dividend of, being, part of the government. And, what it does for me, or what I enjoy basically, is the goodwill from people. So, a number of times I want to do something, there is always sometimes, always somebody that is ready to do it, for you. And, sometimes I don't even need to spend my money to do, things. I just, get, the necessary help from, people. Sometimes I walk into a space and just because of the fact that I'm commissioner, they give me special privileges. Special privileges is not like, jumping a queue, but just because of the fact that, I'm commissioner, they give me that honor of, the honorable commissioner. And sometimes I look at myself that I know that this honor that I'm being given to, if I had, 2 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion in my account, I might not have still been able to open this particular door. But just because of the fact that, I'm commissioner, I'm serving my country, I'm serving my states, they, give me, they extend that, honor, to me. And so for me, I think it is just, it's also biblical. That's why, there's a place, in the Bible that says, those that, rule well should be counted worthy of double honor. So I think, as a servant, in the country, I actually enjoyed that, double honor of, people seeing you and say, oh, Seun, I watched your interview, last week. Oh, that was beautiful. Please, if by chance you are coming to the US, let me know. If by chance you are coming to UK, let me know. I have, these, apartments in the UK. You don't have to pay a dime. Don't worry, Seun, just let me know for how long. Wow, if you want to stay a month, you are free to use my apartment. And these are things that would have cost me so much of money. That I might not even be able to afford, then. So I feel that the number of advantages that naturally comes with, the office, especially for you, that you are truly serving the nation the way you should serve. So politics, government, can be sweet, but especially for you that you know what, you're doing. And for me, this is not the end of the road. I've heard a number of people say that, oh, Seun, we read, through the stuff that you've done. We saw you release your scorecard, and then you even challenge the public that this is actually, verifiable, that people should go and verify the claims of the feats and the achievements you stated in your scorecard. And also, if, you did so well, so excellently well, how come, you've not been reappointed into, one office or the other? And a number of times I just smile. And because why do I smile like that? I remember after 2 years of my service in the state as commissioner, the entire cabinet was actually dissolved. All the commissioners, the 17 commissioners, were actually dissolved. And, it took time before the reappointment of commissioners. And out of the 17 commissioners, I think a number of commissioners did not return for the second, leg. And I was quite privileged to be part of the people that returned for the second leg. And I'm very sure that I was on a particular radio program, and the anchor of that particular show on the radio asked me that, oh, Seun, you're part of the few commissioners that returned, to office that was, reappointed. So what makes you think, why were you reappointed? Is it because of all the feats and the things that you have been able to do and all? And I told him that, look, if we are going to base it on that, there are a number of people that actually did equally well, that served well, but did not return. And I gave them a simple case in point, an analogy. I said, it's like a game of football. Football has, first half, and it has, second half. So, and it is not everybody that plays in the first half that plays second half. Not because they are not good, but, for some certain reasons, best known to the coach, who is actually doing the, the reshuffling and the shoveling. There are a number of people that they are perhaps the best player on the team that you will never see on, the turf during the first half, that they will bring them in maybe just about 10, 15 minutes to the end of the game. It's not because they are not good, but the coach knows when best to engage the respective players. So I told them that, you see, those people that did not join us for this second leg, it's not because they did not do well or they did not serve but it is the decision of the coach, in question here, the governor, to know that, okay, what, this guy has played first half. Let me, tell him to rest, so that I can be able to use him for another match. Because if I should load him because of his efficiency to play first and second half, he might not have enough strength to be able to play another match that I would need him, to feature in. And I said, that is how it is. So if I am not, engaged at the moment, it's not because of, anything. It's just because of the fact that, the governor is the coach in this question, in this, regard. He knows what he's doing. And, with time, everything will become clearer and would understand that, this is the reason why things are, this way. So, people should keep their fingers crossed. It's just, a matter of time. Time has a very beautiful way of, unveiling the true situation of things. So I said all that to say this, that I am not hanging my boots yet. I'm still very, very much involved in politics and in governance. And, there is still so much ahead.
Okay. answered like a true politician. I mean, but why am I surprised? You were raised by a politician. Like, I would have been surprised if you had actually stated that I'm going to do exactly this. I mean, stating exactly what you intend to do in politics is probably not the wisest of tax. So yes, you're still in the mix. All right. So here is the thing: you've achieved this atypical and extraordinary result. Is this replicable by any other youth? Without doubt, you must know that you've inspired and still inspire many. How can they replicate what you've done? Because essentially, if I'm going to go by what you've said, all of this is just time and chance. You were just doing your own stuff, and then all this good luck and good fortune and all these opportunities came to you. And I'm actually of that school of thought. I actually gave a talk a couple of weeks ago where I said that there is nothing that you do really that makes anything happen or not happen for you. Everything is time and chance. So I guess this is my own way of asking you if you actually subscribe to my school of thought. Will you tell a young person to just do you, time and chance? Or is there something they're supposed to do? Are there replicable steps?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say that I very much subscribe to that school of thought that, time and chance, happens to a number of events and situations. And everybody, we should all just focus on doing what, we need to do part time. And I mean, because all those things is in those, little details, is in those little events that, come, together. You never can tell when the critical mass is going to, land on the whole thing and is going to blow it up. So, but you just have to keep doing what you need, to do part time, because those series of events would now be, I mean, when I became commissioner, people just felt like, who is that guy? He just came from nowhere. But I knew myself that, I mean, this was not just, an overnight, success. It was not just that, okay, I just came into the scene. I've been doing this thing consistently. Those that have known me since my government college, days, in Ibadan, to, my days at the university, they know, to my days after, I left school, the things that I was doing. So a number of them that know me, quite closely could tell that, no, I mean, this is actually well deserved, because they know what I've been up to. So it wasn't like, I tell people that when I speak, at conferences, I speak at occasions, in interviews today, and people hear me speak, very honorably. I tell them that it is not because of the fact that, I served as the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sport and, I'm expected, to be honorable, in my dispositions. No, because I've been honorable all my life. And I say that, with, my full chest. So that's to tell, each and every one of that, whatever we are doing, just make sure you keep doing it, because time and chance will definitely happen to you. So, and it's a function of what you've been able to eat that will determine how far, you are going to soar, when that time comes.
Well, ó tún jù sí níta ẹ máa jẹ ó tún sọ sí ohun ẹyẹ jẹ lẹyẹ ń gbé fò ẹ̀mí agùn wà lálùbáríkà. All right. So in other words, whatever your hands find to do it with all your might and do it very well, because your days are numbered. Very well answered indeed. Okay, 2 more questions before I let you go. Number one, you've been inside government. I mean, you've been inside. They don't get any more inside than you've been. Which way Nigeria? I mean, there are schools of thought that say that our situation right now is so hopeless that only a miracle can deliver us from where we are right now. So I ask you, just how close to the precipice are we at this juncture? Are we so far from redemption? What needs to be done? I do realize that it's a very, very, it's a large question to ask in one question. But hey, you are the man in the know. So you tell me, which way Nigeria?
So, quite frankly, if we're going to look at it, from this way, if we belong to the school of thought that it only takes a miracle, then we should understand that whatever is happening at the moment might not, actually, be able to justify, that end result or the manifestation, because even everywhere, a miracle happens, whether in real life that we've experienced or the ones that we've read about, maybe in Bible or biblical or, religious, books, is also miracles don't, it's not, comprehensible. You cannot comprehend it because it's actually, beyond the human comprehension. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that somebody is dead and then you say you raise the person up. It doesn't make sense that somebody is blind and then you just, use your hand to wipe the person's, face and the person can see, again. So that's why, I am also part of the people that, even as much as I don't like to sound, quite, spooky, I would say that if it is by miracle, then I would join the party or the group that believes that, Nigeria is going to be saved by a miracle. And if it is, by conscious, effort of what we give into the system and what we get out of it, I still believe that things, can change. There are a number of things that are actually happening at the moment. I'm actually, the very unconventional, type of guy, and I'm not the one that you see flocking around what the maybe the mass majority of people think. I always like to be unique and to look at things from a second angle to things. And I tell people that something is popular doesn't mean it is the truth. We can have a popular opinion about even the current government that, oh, this is this, this is this. It doesn't mean that it is necessarily, the truth. And, for me, I believe that if there's our leaders, they have that, and this is from the angle of somebody who is inside. I've seen a number of things, in the government. I've seen different, stories that, sometimes I just look and say, wow, truly it is not, all that we see, that it's the same, exactly the same way. Because even in this, my little time in government, 4 years of active, governance, I've seen situations where, let me just give this example of a snake that is in the middle of a river. Then this snake, enters, nosedives into the river and then comes up with a fish in its mouth. And then there's a journalist that captures that, scenario. Now, when this journalist is going to tell his story, he says, let us give glory to the snake for trying to save the fish from drowning. And gullible people automatically will be like, wow, God bless the snake. God bless the snake. But the question is, if you think a little bit deeper from another angle, you have to think that, wait, is it possible for a fish to drown inside the river? But a number of people don't even have that, second thought to things. And a number of things in government has been like this. I've seen how, in government, the devils are the one, praised as saints. And I've seen how the saints are the one victimized and, tagged as the devil. But, it is just what it is. But if there's anything I know and I understand, as far as Nigeria is concerned, I'm not so familiar with the UK system. I'm not so familiar with the American system. But the Nigerian system that I'm actually quite, familiar with, I know that if we want things to change, things can actually change. Look at the recent, events that has been happening. Look at how, dollar. Just, some reasonable policies, to put in place. The dollar to naira, see how, there are changes. So that is to tell you that if we are ready to do things, we will surely do it. But I want to tell every one of us, especially for those that maybe in the name of, yes, we understand that we are victims of, poor and very bad, leadership over the years, but that doesn't still give us that, right to be angry, at this, country. I still believe that a lot of things can actually, change. So if there's anything, let us have that, iota of that hope, that iota of doubt that, okay, it is going, to be good. And let us be part of the people who use their mouths to say positive things, who use their hands to work positively in order for us, to achieve that. Because at the end of the day, personally, I feel that Nigeria will be good. And I want to be part of the people that will obtain the promise, not the people that will be explaining the promise by the time, things, change. Do we remember the case of the Syrian army, when, they told him that this time tomorrow, so will be sold for a shekel of, and he said, lie, it cannot happen. The prophet said, no problem, it's going to happen. You will see it, but you will not partake out of it. So, and I pray that for those that don't, believe in Nigeria, I pray that, their case is not like the Syrian army, who would only see the goodness that is going to befall Nigeria, but would not be able to partake, out of it. Do I sound like a pastor or a prophet? Well, but I think that's just, that's just my view about the things, to come. So I believe, in this Nigeria.
So, Prophet Fako, thank you for that. Thank you for that answer. Okay, final question. I'm curious. Were you married when you were appointed commissioner?
Yes,
you were married.
I married. No. I was not married before my appointment. I married, during my tenure as commissioner.
Okay, great. So you were single when you were made a commissioner.
Yes.
That on its own has got to be a record of some sort, please. I figure that make you one of the most eligible bachelors anywhere in the world at that point. Please, how does a 27-year-old single commissioner even maintain enough sanity to find one person to marry? I mean, there must have been people on your case. How did you navigate those waters? There must have been women on your case. Come on.
I mean, loads of women, at some points, I've had different, even political bigwigs, who would, come to me and say, Seun, I have 2 daughters, and they will be coming home, for, if you don't mind, I can actually, invite you over for dinner and, you meet them. I've had like series of, women, coming to my DM, to say that, hey, Commissioner, this, and, it's obvious that, they are just, trying, to like, just, make us talk. And also there were a lot of them. But, I would say that, it was, I wouldn't deny the fact that it was tough, because it's like you have different options that, and I feel that, these are times and these are situations that really test, the character, the content of our character, because, I like to tell, about myself that, I'm a person of ripe character and clear conviction. So, at that time, it was now, for me to say that, okay, why do I want to get married to this particular person? Is it because, of money? Or is it because of, power? Is it because of this or that? But I'm happy that I was able to diligently, pick, my choice. I was able to diligently, find that, person, for me. And, I'm happy that, I ended up with that person. That person is the one in my house, the mother of my beautiful son to today. I'm happy that I did not, make that mistake, even with respect to the pressure. But those times that actually preceded that, my decisions were very, very tough. As a young guy, to pick, from. I know a number of people that will feel like, you should not rush now. Take your time, enjoy the attention, enjoy the this and that. But, for me, like I said, I can actually be a very crazy guy. I don't, go, about, the things, the conventional way. So I guess, that really even helped me when I was going to make, a decision to settle with, my life partner.
Awesome. Honorable Fakorede, thank you very much for doing this with me. And I hope to see you back in government soon enough.
Hopefully.
Say hopefully what? Civilian life is great, but it's not as great as government life.
And so for me, I'm actually enjoying, because even though I'm not in office, I'm actually, still serving the people in my own capacity. And I would say that the way I see government or the way I see service is actually quite different. I mean, it's just a clear case of you helping people to say, oh, let me help you with the burden or the load on your head. And if somebody looks at me and say, don't worry, I will carry it. You don't need to help me. I'll carry my load myself. I mean, why should I be hungry? So, but the moment, I start lobbying to say by force, by fire, I have to carry that load for you, it means that there's something in that, bag or that baggage that you have on your head that you are carrying, that there's something I want to take out of that, load. I want to rip out of that, load. That would make me, and that's the only reason why I want to, do it at all costs to make sure that I get there. But if there's nothing, if, it's just, a privilege of you saying, okay, you know what, I'm just available. I just have the time, to serve. Then, do it. And if that's, opportunity doesn't come to serve, do other things that you know how to, do best. But the most important thing is keep, creating indelible impacts. And that's my own ideology. That's my school of thought where governance and politics is concerned.
Awesome. Honorable Fako, God bless you. Thank you very much for doing this. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure and a delight, to be here with the great Teju Babyface.
Thank you. All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Honorable Seun Fakorede. I know that I enjoyed it. Seun is a great conversationalist. There are people you talk to and you can listen to them for just a long time. And Seun Fakorede was one of those. And again, what I've just said makes no sense to you if you're watching this out of sequence because you're seeing this on Instagram or Facebook and you didn't see the interview that came before this. So again, as I always enjoin you, please visit Teju Babyface, King of Talk, the channel on YouTube, and not only watch, but please subscribe and hit the notification button so that we can notify you when we publish new content, or so that you're notified once we publish new content, and also like the video. Apparently, those three things work. Sometimes I feel like a prophet of sorts, because it was just 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 episodes ago, that during this wisdom roundup, I told you that it is time and chance that elevates us in life where good fortune or where riches or where success is concerned. That it is nothing that you and I do. That all of our hustle, all of our bustle, all of our connections, all of these things, watching success videos, reading success books, counseling with mentors, and all of that hard work, that they do nothing really to change our fortunes in life. That the reason why we do those things is in preparation for the opportunity to change your fortune. It is so that when the opportunity comes eventually for you to change your fortune, you would have been prepared enough, you would have been schooled enough to harness the opportunity. And Seun Fakorede said the same thing. Here was a young guy, or here was a guy. Remember, Seun had said that there's nothing like a young man. A man is a man. So here was a guy, here was a man in Lagos who was doing his own stuff, youth empowerment and all of that, just doing business. And then when the governor called him for the meeting, he assumed that it was just for discussions for other symbiotically benefiting relationships between his company and the government of Oyo State. And he was shocked when the governor offered him the commission in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Just time and chance, which means that even if you wanted to replicate his success step for step, you cannot do it. All Seun Fakorede can offer you, and it's the same thing I'll offer you now, are the words of King Solomon. For King Solomon says to us, whatever your hands find to do, do it very well. Because your real fortunes in life, your principal fortunes in life are not going to come from anything you can plan or strategize. It doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be diligent. But the things that are really going to change your life are not the things you're going to strategize your way into. Which is why I have always had a problem with people who tell you to have long-term goals. In fact, some of them tell you to not only have long-term goals, they tell you to walk your life back. Have a 90-year goal and then walk it back in decades, and all of that is just Tosh. That is fiddlesticks. That is not practical, especially when you come from where we come from. Nobody sees life with that kind of clarity. That does not mean you should not have goals, but have project-specific goals. For example, as far as this podcast is concerned, we have goals. We want to get to 100,000 subscribers in the next couple of weeks. Then after that, 500,000, a million, and so on and so forth. We have project-specific goals. But this idea of planning your life out as if your life is mechanistic is just, for the want of a better word, is unrealistic. Okay, so whatever your hands find to do right now, do very well, but leave the rest to fortune. Leave the rest to time and chance, because it will eventually happen for you. Now, believe it or not, that is not actually what I wanted to speak about. But if I look at the time, I have already been doing this for about 5.5 minutes. So what you say, let me just leave what I wanted to speak about for the next one. On the next one, I will tell you what I actually wanted to talk to you about, but I think we've done very well on this one. Again, remember, everything comes down to time and chance. Just do your work very well and leave the rest. You know what? You know how they say, do your best and leave the rest? Exactly. Do your best, leave the rest. Which is why you should not envy other people. Because truly in life, we cannot replicate or duplicate the success of other people. They can only inspire and motivate us, but we can never do it like another person did it. Which is again why the Yorubas say that ẹni tí ò bá mọ ibi tí ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ ti là, ó kàn máa sá eré àsákú ni. Which means that if it is your intention and your aim to duplicate what you see others doing or what you see other successful people doing, you want to duplicate exactly the success that they have, you're going to run yourself aground. Why? Because what actually makes them successful, or the factor that actually makes anybody successful, nobody actually knows, including the person who succeeded. I will say that again. The ingredient or the catalyst that actually makes anybody achieve success, nobody knows, including the person who achieved the success. So when we call people and tell them to come and inspire us, they can just give us the general Cliff's notes. It is not actually in what they're saying. It is in the energy that they carry. So that is why it is folly to be jealous or envious of other people. We cannot help jealousy. We cannot help envy. It's a natural instinct. Sometimes when I speak to people, I let them know that I am aware of my human nature. I am candid with myself. I have candid conversations with myself. And the truth is that when I hear that something good has happened to somebody, especially a contemporary of mine, my first reaction, my instinctive reaction is not always joy for them. That goes against our human nature. Our first reaction is always jealousy and envy. But maturity and experience and a good nature in life actually teach you to suppress that jealousy and actually turn it inwards to inspire yourself. If you're able to do that, no problem. But it doesn't help anybody when you're actively jealous of other people because of their success, because even they cannot tell you how they became successful. All of this again is to underscore what I've already repeated during this interaction about 12 times. Don't worry about how you will go from 1 to infinity, which means don't worry about how you will make big things happen for you. Just worry about how you will go from 0 to 1. In short, worry about how you will eat today. Worry about providing for your family. Worry about how to find engaging work that rewards you mentally and emotionally. Don't worry about how you're going to make it big. And of course, when I say worry, you understand what I mean. Don't stress out. When I say worry, just give your concern to the work that you do and leave fortune and success to time and chance. Trust me, your time and your chance will eventually come. And when they do come, because you've spent all that time working diligently, you'll be ready to harness your opportunities. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.